Hello there, welcome. This is a live stream going out live. Oh, I don't think we've started yet. Hello, welcome to a live stream coming to you from Mirari, which is part of Pink Elephant. My name's David Drapkin. I'm the executive director of Mirari, and today I'm speaking to a friend of mine in Portugal, Rosa Brissos. How you doing, Rosa?
I'm good. How are you? How is everything?
Great, great. Yeah, this is third time lucky. We've been trying to make this conversation happen. Rose and I know each other from a previous work with Vital. We've kept in touch over the last few years. She's amazing. I'm going to tell you some details about her. We're going to be talking about somatic embodiment, knowing ourselves from the inside out, and how that helps us to make decisions in life in general, but particularly around using psychedelics, and how that helps us to be able to support other people that use psychedelics in their decision making. So, who's Rosa? In a nutshell, so Rosa F. Brissos, PhD. She's a biochemist, a medicinal organic chemist, a microbiome researcher, and now a somatic therapist, specializing in psychedelic preparation and integration. And for the last 2 years, it has been working in a retreat center in Portugal that has the amazing ability to use multiple psychedelics and compounds and medicines to work with people in combination with different kind of holistic interventions. So we're going to be talking about some of these things. Rosa, is there a moment in your life where you found your body, where you sunk into yourself somatically, and that was a moment where you realized, this is what it feels like, or I have a body? I had a moment myself, so I'm just wondering, was there a moment for you?
Oh boy, many moments, and especially moments where I was like, "Oh, I know the answer, but let's run the other way because logically it's the
Ah,
other way."
what took you in the other direction? What is the other way? What's over there?
Yeah, many times where I knew that I shouldn't do this or that, but even though I knew, I override that directive from the body. And the moments, and I can recall the moments that everything was sinking in. I was like, oh yeah, it's this. And it's a totally different, and you always do know, but our minds sometimes want to know better. And that's where the trouble comes, I guess. This cognitive dissonance between what we feel, what we know it's true, and what we want to be true.
Mm. Yeah, I can relate to that. It's a choice, but honestly, we don't often realize that there is a choice. We just do it. Like we're just used to it. We're kind of
Mhm.
default programmed to go with the mind, to believe whatever it says, and to forget that we have this body that has needs, but also it has wisdom. For me, my moment when I woke up to in a sense, having a body and not just a brain and a mind was
Mhm.
just really 5 years ago, probably. I was microdosing CBD at the time, and people think, "What, CBD? You can't microdose that. That's that." But it made me slow down.
Mm.
It helped me to just see what my body was holding and what it needed, and there was this realization that, oh wow, up until now I've been kind of just doing the opposite, not really thinking what my body needs or what it's saying to me. I'm not using it, my body. I'm just using my mind and just thinking about everything and experiencing life, experiencing myself, just cognitively, just kind of intellectually. And I see other people, clients of mine. I'm a therapist, I should tell people, and a social worker. And so that shifted how I work with people. So it's not just, psychoanalytical, even Jungian based. It's really more somatic and embodied, nervous system based. So what do you think about this idea that we just mentioned before, Rosa, before we went live? Should people have developed some kind of embodiment practice? Should they know their nervous system a little bit in order to become eligible and to be safe to use psychedelics?
Well, I'm really biased here, but yes, indeed. Because you have the answers and you know when something is wrong or not right for you, no matter how knowledgeable the other person is. And if you have a little bit more awareness into how your nervous system works, and we have here kind of a little bit of a okay, sometimes your nervous system is triggering an answer or telling you this is dangerous because of a previous experience and not the reality. But if you're more in tune with your body and understand a little bit how your nervous system works, you will know what's right for you and if this experience is right for you, no matter how logical or not logical it is. And if you're already, for example, at a retreat or not, um, if something is wrong, you will know it's wrong. Your body will let you know. And then the good thing with facilitators is that you can bounce back the ideas and you can feel how it is, because the more comfortable you are, especially talking about psychedelic experiences, the more comfortable you are in your body and with the other person, the deeper you can go into your experience and the better you can let go, let's quote unquote.
Mm, beautiful. What have you found helps people when you're working with other people to sink a little bit deeper, to slow down a bit, to start peeling back the layers of having a body, of being embodied, of being able to tune into what their body's saying to them? Because we're basically saying the body is wise, the body knows, doesn't lie to us, but we need to learn how to speak its language or kind of tune into its frequency. So, any practical tips if people are watching this and thinking, "Oh wow, yeah, I also I don't know how to do that, or I don't do that enough. What should I do?" What would you tell them?
I think breath is really important. I think for me, now kind of going back to your first question, the moment someone told me, "Oh, you don't know how to breathe," oh my God, this triggered me a lot. And I was like, okay, the scientist in me went like, okay, let me tell you about, like, if I'm alive, I know how to breathe. And that was an important moment where I can now understand where I'm nervous, and unconsciously, maybe you don't even know, and you hold your breath. So if you pay attention to how you're breathing, you already kind of have a hint into this, into the knowledge of your body. Because sometimes I just hold my breath and I realize I'm holding my breath. I'm like, oh, interesting. Am I not comfortable in this situation? What's going on here? And
Mm,
then I have a little bit of an understanding. And then, really, when you, as a facilitator or a therapist, you're in the other side and you can see the bodily reactions of the people. And when you see that, you can pinpoint to that, oh, what's going on here? Or, oh, I noticed this or that. And then really allow them to talk, because the body will talk for them. So in there, you just then observe the body language and you can just bounce back some ideas without, I don't have, because every time someone comes to a retreat, I don't have an agenda. The agenda, it's theirs. So I allow them to talk and just expressing their, even you can do it by yourself if you're just talking or journaling, and see how your body reacts to every single line you journal, for example, or
yeah,
you talk to another person.
yeah. I love the idea that the body needs to have permission to express itself,
Mhm.
and that if we allow it to kind of almost give it permission, it will naturally know what to do. And
Mhm.
it's totally unique and will look different for different people at different times. There's not one way that everyone should do it. But from what I've seen with working with people as well, Rosa, it's hard for people to rest and to be still and to do nothing, just to
Mhm.
breathe and go and let them do nothing. And the opposite's true as well.
Ah,
It's
yeah.
hard for them to just let their body move in strange ways. Going, why is it doing that? I don't know why it's doing that, or I don't want it to do that. I want it to stop doing that, you know. But no, the body's doing that. Why? Well, I don't know. But let it do it as long as you're safe. And my
Mhm.
job here is to make sure you're safe. You don't
Yeah.
trip over. You don't bang your head. You don't hurt anybody else. Just let's see what happens if you let your body do that. And personally speaking, I've had some really powerful experiences where my body did something. I didn't mean for it to do it. I couldn't have stopped it doing it. It just did it because it had been holding something in for decades that it needed to do. It needed to get into a certain position and
Mhm.
then to cry and to scream. and to say certain things that it had been holding on to for decades. And when it could get in that position and say the right thing with the right emotion and to cry it out and to scream it out, something shifted. I
Oh,
could never have said, right, so 2 hours after taking this medicine, I'm going to get into this position. I'm going to scream this and then burst into tears. And then I'm going to be healed. No,
yeah.
but by just letting my body just naturally just do whatever it needed, eventually, wow, it just dropped into the right frequency, the
Mm.
right level to do that. So it takes quite a lot of preparation and trust, and it's scary.
Oh,
What have
yeah.
you seen in your own life or working with other people around this?
Well, I can bring my experience and being really brainy as and scientists like what the heck, and I didn't believe at the beginning. Like this, I read the body keeps the score, and I was reading things about Gabor Mate, kind of correlating, and I'm like, correlation is not causation. Come on, it's not. But then I just my because my brain functions with patterns, and I go like, wait a second, all the people I know that has this, yeah, they suffered this. Huh, interesting. And even in me, I was like, I had journeys where I couldn't understand anything that was happening, but my body kept on moving. At the beginning, I would try to stop it because I'm like, this just looks weird from the outside. But then it's what you mentioned is like you make these movements, and now as the on the other side, I always tell people, look, don't try to control, just allow. And might be really weird, just be comfortable to allow. It's not too much. And if we think it's too much, if we feel that, okay, it's disturbing others, don't worry, we're going to hold. So we create a container for people really to release. And how I always give the example is imagine that this emotion just crystallized in your body and it's there. It needs to express itself somehow. And then when it expresses, you let go of it. You just feel whatever needs to be felt.
Mm,
That's it. And then you will only, of course, right now and at the moment that the thing happens, the people and me, I was like, what the heck does this mean? But then I just say, you need, that's where trust needs to come into the place. You will see afterwards. You will see that afterwards in your life, things will be different. You will not hold on to these things. You will not have the same triggered reaction. Maybe you don't have a reaction at all. Maybe the time between the trigger and the reaction, it's longer, and you choose now how to respond instead of react. And these things are things that I don't think science can fully understand and like a molecular way, but it's just the okay, this is happening. The trauma is stored somehow in our body. And again, going to correlation, there's a lot of correlations of pain, physical pain, and then later on, or traumas that happen to some people. And then later on, this is translated in certain type of diseases. And we have the most correlated one, I think it's cancer, breast cancer, and people that could not really feel certain types of emotions. They could not grieve. So then they develop breast cancer at some part of their lives. And of course, it's a little bit what? But if you start correlating things, it's like, oh, interesting. Interesting how it gets stored. And yeah, maybe later on we will have an understanding. But right now is just as it is. And can you allow yourself to move? Can you
mm,
allow yourself? And we have this anecdotal people that go to massages and they are getting a massage and that they burst on crying and they have no idea why they are crying.
yeah,
That's because maybe the massage just touch a point that where that emotion was stored, and then it's getting people are letting go of it.
yeah. Thanks, Rosa. I love everything you said. My wife is a massage therapist, and
Mm.
she's a therapist. Like, she really holds space for people and helps them to tap into stuff they've been holding on to for quite a while, and that pain in their shoulder or in their neck or in their jaw, that's there for a reason, sometimes at least. I want to go into one particular thing you shared that I think there's a lot of wisdom and depth to it. So let's just talk about this idea of what the body is, and you were saying one way of understanding it is almost like as a container, but that holds, and that it's a channel that lets go.
Mm-hmm.
So how can something hold something and then let go as well? And I think that's the beauty of the body. We often think to make meaning of something, or to achieve something, or to complete something, it needs to be held on to. And let's think about this, and spend days and weeks and months and years trying to perfect. How do I do this? How do I change? What's my idea? What's my identity? So I think there's this Western idea of holding. We hold on
Mm-hmm.
so much in our body, tension, but psychologically in our identity as well. Um, the body actually just wants to let go. That's radical. And when you said, well, what do you do when something comes up? Well, you let it go, because then you are different. You feel different. The body holds on and it lets go when it's ready. When the conditions are primed, the set and setting is right, when the nervous system is tuned in, it lets go. So just can we talk a wee bit more about this idea of the body letting go? What is it letting go of? And what happens to the body and to the person when that has been let go of?
So it's really interesting. So what if we think about psychedelics, they really like the default mode network, this identity that I am this, this happened to me. It kind of like loosens it up, right? And this is something that then allows us to kind of ask better questions and the let go part of it. But what happens is that if we are in trust, if we are comfortable, our fight or flight will not be engaged. So we only can let go if we trust. So if we we held, as you mentioned, we held this identity for long. We held this happened to me, or I am like this, or whatever. And as I like to think about, is kind of an armor that we put on, and we have this armor that, oh, I'm like this, and then we outgrow this armor, so it kind of
Mm,
constrains us, it's constraining our life, and it's not giving us anything, and it's giving us more stress. More stress has a physiological impact in our bodies, and that is affecting our quality of life, both in terms of relationships and inside of us. And this has a big impact. And when we allow, we can relax enough, when we can trust enough, and and psychedelics sometimes they give us that, we are able to let go of that rigid identity,
mm,
to let go of those old stories that no longer serve us. That, yeah, we were like that, and then we can go a little bit into the the identity and the using the trauma as a badge that a lot of people use. But we can let go. We understand why this happened, and we are able to not relate to it anymore like that. And
mm,
that's where we start being able to, okay, I can actually, that served me until now, but if I want to evolve to the type of life that I really want, and that my body knows it's for me, I need to let go of that identity. That identity served me, that armor served me until now, but right now I can move and shift to a different thing. And that's that shift. That's like for a long time, and it's and you can feel it in your body. I have it troubles trying to put into words when I say let go, because it can be really, yeah, how do I let go? What do you mean let go? Sure, I'm trying to let go. And it's like, yeah, but if your nervous system is not safe enough, if you don't feel safe enough, you'll not let go.
mm,
So how can we achieve that? So you said brilliantly, set and setting. Okay, set and setting are right. And now maybe you can relax a little bit, and then you can loosen a little bit the grip. And sometimes let go doesn't mean I open my hands and I let go. It's like I loosen the grip, I rewire the nervous system. It's safe to. And then slowly, I do that along the days, weeks, months after. And that's when the let go comes
Yeah.
fully into place.
Great. Let's dig into this around the psychedelic decision making piece. So, when we are thinking about using psychedelics, or when we are using psychedelics and trying to think about how much or what kind, the why, the where, the who, with, a lot of decisions that we may not actually give any time to thinking about. I know you work with people on retreats, so you kind of walk through with them kind of the why, the intentions, and what kind of protocol to do with them. Um, there's a really important piece around, I think, maybe I'll bring in just IFS, internal family systems.
Yeah.
So I love this modality. It's one of many that I think we can use. And the idea is that we're complex human beings, and we're made up of multiple parts that may not know each other very well, or may not get along with each other very well. We may not know ourselves what those different parts of us are. So it's like an internal family. And when we come to using psychedelics, like we're saying before, Rosa, we're trying to get our nervous system ready, kind of fertile, but just kind of, I think of it as alignment, like things move into
Right.
alignment, like the planets and the stars orbiting round. And really, if you're going to do deep work and go down deep into the root of your being, your body, mind, and soul, you need all of those parts of yourself to kind of line up. And then you let in the light, the healing, the awareness, the love, the surrender. And then things come out of that channel within. So this question of IFS is, there's no bad parts. So we're complex, and um, in one sense, we could say that all of our parts need to say yes.
Yeah.
But I've also had experiences myself and work with clients as well, where there are parts that are saying no, and that's okay. So let's explore why that part's saying no, or why that part is saying, I don't want that part to, part of me to be here. Let's just leave them out of it. I'll be fine. I want to do this anyway, with these parts that say, yes, let's go do it. So this idea that we're complex, do we need to have all of our parts say yes to this experience? And if not, then how do we change how the experience might be? Because there is a part of us that's like, I don't know about this. I'm scared, or I'm destabilized. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think a lot is on, okay, let's debrief that part. Let's see if that is a important part that is not fully ready. And it's like, no. Or it's a part that from previous experiences are saying it's saying no because, well, we did something new before and it didn't work and I'm not comfortable and da, da, da. So it's like, okay, let's listen to what is that part saying. Is it uncomfortable because it's a new experience? And every time someone comes and they're like, to be honest, I'm really nervous, we always say, if you weren't nervous, it would be a red flag because you
Mm,
would not know what you're getting into, because
mm,
you're opening the door to your unconscious. It's a black box for a reason. So it's normal. And I always say, even us facilitators that we did this hundreds of times, we are like, well, here we go again. And this is the thing, it's like, it's okay that you're nervous, it's okay, and it's bringing calmness into that part, talking about what can happen and seeing. And I had a case of, there's this amazing guy, he came and his nervous system was totally out of whack, totally, and he was shaking. And immediately when he sat down with me to have the one-on-one, he started crying and we had to talk. I was like, okay, maybe it's for you, it's not right to go to the first ceremony. What if, and there was a lot of parts of him coming up terrified, and he's like, maybe I'm pushing myself, but I want, maybe I'm ruining this experience, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, we allow all of that to happen. And maybe, are you comfortable on coming to the ceremony and not taking medicine? Just sitting there and seeing, because you're extremely nervous. And his body, I'm pretty sure that if he would have medicine, it would have been a traumatic experience.
mm.
And he sat with it because then there was a lot of parts coming up. There was the guilt, the shame that I'm here and other people will take. I'm not, and really needed to calm down all the parts to like, okay, for you, this is right. We don't care about the rest. So, and I said at some moment in the first, and I explained how the ceremony went. And then I'm like, if at any point in time you're like, okay, I feel comfortable and I want to take a little bit of medicine. And I told him, a little bit doesn't mean a full dose. A little bit might be just a tiny micro dose. So you kind of like put your feet like, oh, okay, it's not that scary. And then we go into the rest. And it's okay because it's your experience and you know. And his nervous system was completely, he was crying, nervous, shaking. And it's normal. So we needed to calm and have kind of like peace with all the parts and going like, okay, that part that is fully ashamed right now because you came all the way here, and maybe you're running, it also has a place here at the table. And right now, and this was at the beginning when he sat down with me, it's like right now this is the truth and it's okay. Maybe later on the truth might be different for you, and we are open to talk again. And if at some point you're like, okay, I'm ready. And he came to the first ceremony. For the first 2/3 of the ceremony, he didn't want anything. He just seated there, calming the nervous system, and he was having his process. He was crying. He was, and then at some point he came to me and he said, I think I'm ready, but a little bit. And I was like, okay, are you ready? Are you really ready? Or is just your mind saying, okay, I'm here. And he's like, no, no, I'm ready for a little bit. And he took a little bit of medicine. And
Mm.
then the second day went amazing. So this is the thing where for one person, they might be head on and go like, okay, I want full dose, I'm ready for it, and da da da. For another, maybe pushing them into the deep ends, it's really complicated. So that's why it's important the person that comes to the medicine be in contact with their nervous system, and the facilitator be also in contact with their nervous system and their body and knows like, okay, this person is not ready. And of course I wish he was ready and saw all the things that, but it's not me, and it's that I need to get out of the equation. It's like what is right for his nervous system, and I need to be attuned to know what's mine and what's theirs.
Beautiful. Yeah, a lot of really good tips there. Um, there's something you shared, Rosa, that I'd like to go into around how much psychedelic to use,
Mm.
and this idea that the more the merrier, or that we need that hero's dose. We need, to destroy our ego, ego death. That it's got to be big. There's this peer pressure. It's cool. Kind of, everyone on Instagram's like, oh yeah, I did this much. How many times did you do that ceremony? And more isn't better. Like more ayahuasca circles,
Mm.
more grams of mushrooms isn't better in a sense. Yeah, it may show that there's not attunement to what you ultimately need, what you're ready for. And I've seen people have lower dosage so that they're actually more psycholytic. So not necessarily a
Wow.
psychedelic hero's dose, but psycholytic. So you feel it. It's not a microdose. You feel it. Things feel a bit different. Things feel more free. They're lubricated emotionally, cognitively, spiritually, physically, somatically. There's this lubrication, so it's a bit more kind of malleable. And amazing things happen because you feel safe, you feel present, and you feel able to do new things, to feel new things. And I've seen amazing things happen with lower dosage. Whereas with
Mm.
higher dosage, yeah, you might get more fireworks and crazy shit happening. um, and you may well have a breakthrough because you're forced to. Something just
Mm.
explodes within you, but it might be bloody difficult to put it all back together again. Um, so, what's your thought around when people come to your retreat center that you've worked with, and how to work with them around this expectation of, I need the maximum, I need the most, I need more? Why
I
is
always,
that?
I always ask them, are you ready for it? Because there's a lot of I love sometimes in the intro call. I had an intro call where This lady, she was like, okay, I'm ready for the ego death and I'm ready to see all my shadows and da da da. And I looked at her and was like, great. And then I said, are you ready for it? And she was like, what do you mean? Of course. I'm like, okay. So your shadow might not be the things you think. There's a reason it's a shadow, right? It's like you might not enjoy it. And the ego death, well, I always have troubles because I don't fully relate to the ego death. Um, but because I really let go. But I say, look, well, you might cling onto something and you don't want that to die. So that might be a tough experience. Are you ready for that? Are you ready for what's on the other side? And then I give examples and I explain. And I explain that the shadow might be something that you don't really enjoy. And there will be parts of you that you might be really ashamed, or there's the reason is a shadow. And then people they are like, oh, I never thought about this because they see on Instagram or on everywhere that, oh, it's this way or that way. And then suddenly they're like, wait a second. Maybe I'm not ready. And this is not a thing. And then I explained the nervous system. If the nervous system is not ready, you can take as much medicine. And this is the part that I cannot, even scientifically, it's kind of what you said. There's people. We had this guy. I always give his example. He's a tough guy. He's like 2 meters, and 1/4 of a dose took him to, and it was first ceremony and everything. It's like took him to all the places. And we have people that take the full dose and nothing much happened. And then I said, maybe it's not too, and this is the fine line that you need to be careful on talking to people because then they can blame themselves. Oh, I was not ready or da. But it's like maybe your nervous system was not ready for the full fireworks. And I always give my examples. I have the full fireworks in my first ceremony where I'm fully researcher mode and I would get myself admitted to maybe to a psychiatrist because I'm like, oh, now I'm crazy. So this is the thing, your mind will not give you more, or your unconscious is not, if you're not ready, let's quote unquote, it will not open fully because your nervous system is bracing. So, okay, so it's the preparation. And for some people, indeed, they need more. And we have some examples of people that came, they have been on SSRIs for like years and years, and they stopped for several years, and now they might be a little bit more resistant. Okay, so how can we work onto it to, yeah, maybe give you a full dose because for you, maybe you need a little bit more to pass that threshold,
Mhm.
but not pushing you into the deep end where you're gonna get really maybe traumatized.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like it's a lot of talking and explaining and really seeing if the person is coming from an addiction, because we see this with addictions. With addictions is this idea of more, 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 more. I need more. And it's like, okay, so with this medicines is not like that. It will be a little bit different. So then we that's where the preparation is so important, to kind of see where are they coming from, and also explain that on YouTube, on the trip reports, on Instagram, you don't have the mild examples. You always have the fireworks. You
Yeah.
always have this, and it's an explanation after a lot of integration. So kind of telling them that maybe you have the experience, you will not understand the full experience at the beginning. You might get insights of what was that about, but maybe after the integration, yeah, you will have. But on all the media that you saw, maybe those were the big experiences that you might have or you might not have. So why are you coming from when you say I want more, more, more?
Yeah. There's a story I'll tell. Before I tell it, I just want to let folks know who are tuning in who we are, because we've been talking for a while and it's beautiful. That's the whole point. So I'm David Drabkin. I'm the executive director at Mirari, which is part of Pink Elephant. And we're an education company specializing in psychedelic education in Europe. If you want to check us out, because we've got a foundation program starting in September, running for 12 weeks, go to Mirari, Mirari .academy. And I'm speaking to Rosa Brissos. We are talking about the body, psychedelics, decision making, wisdom. And there's something I want to share around choice that we have. What's enough? And I'll use the example of chocolate and ice cream, but we could be
Mm.
talking about psychedelics. But I'll say chocolate and ice cream. Okay, I love them. What's enough? What's the right amount to have? And I know that typically I'll eat as much chocolate or ice cream as I can until I just about start to feel sick. And then, okay, that's enough. Great. I'm starting to feel like, oh God, that's enough. That's enough. But maybe actually it's just a little bit that I needed just to get the flavor in my tongue, my mouth, to experience that. Ah, that's what that taste tastes like. Because as I just have more and more and more of it, it's the same taste, but it just starts to make me feel sick. So this idea of what's enough with psychedelics, we tend to think, well, I'll take it as far as I go until I almost go mad, you know, or until I almost, lose my ego or cease to exist. And I think the opposite, like similar to what we've already been talking about, what's the lowest amount that I need
Mhm.
to help me meet my experience, to work with the psychedelics. So I and the psychedelics meet in the middle and we dance together. And that's maybe more psycholytic, but so that I'm able to kind of really use my intuition, not in a sense be overwhelmed by the experience and just want to be blasted and destroyed by it, but to meet it in this almost, yeah, like sensual dance, like this interactive exchange. How much can we do together when I'm fully like present and engaged and working with it? Yeah, that's a beautiful experience. So I need less chocolate and ice cream or psychedelics to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can see, if I take my experience as example, at the beginning, because I was not in trust, I was like, oh my God, no, I need more. Da, da. But I was not in trust and my nervous system was not fully relaxed. So now the same amount, I need like way less. And I know, because I know and I have the trust that this small amount would take me to those places, and don't need the drama. I don't need the full fireworks for it to work.
Mm,
And I think my last experience, my last journey, that it was not okay. You don't need the fireworks. You don't need the drama, the bracing, the I'm losing my ego, and no, you just need this small amount to connect you, to really connect you, and you need to listen to yourself,
mm,
listen to your body, because we know if we take the chocolate, we know that there will be a part that you're like, okay, I think I'm good, but then the brain goes like, a little bit more.
there's more. There's plenty left.
So let's go a little bit more, and you're like, okay. So this is the thing, is like
Yeah.
when can you stop when you hear I'm good now.
Mm, beautiful. A final question, because you're very clever, as you said, you've got your PhD, chemistry, biology. Can you just talk to us about what we know and also what you believe around the body, particularly the microbiome, and maybe say the brain, 5-HT2A receptor and other receptors, how that relates to wellness, healing, particularly of trauma, and then how does psychedelics come into that?
There's not much. This would be like kind of a dream research. It's there's not much done with microbiome and psychedelics. There was a little bit of research done, saying that more with psilocybin, that psilocybin drives towards the good communities. But what we need to understand is that we think we are in charge of what's happening in our brain, but who's really in charge is our gut and the microbes
Mm,
there. So the communities that we have there, they are in charge of what's going on in our brain, let's quote unquote. And if we have the wrong communities, putting it really simply, simplifying it, really, if we have the wrong communities there, what's happening inside our brain will not be great, because the precursors and around 90% of the serotonin is made on our gut. If we don't have the good communities producing this, nothing will work out in our brain. So this is why the microbiome is so important. There's a lack of research in this field. How? Because since my first journey, I was like, no, there's a big thing happening.
Mm.
There might be a big shift happening in our microbiome when we take psychedelics, um, but there's not much to say, because what we know, as you say, it's about the receptors in our brain, not in our guts, and what happens. We know that there's a move towards the good communities, so there might be something related to the purge if we think about ayahuasca, but there's not much said or known in those regards. So it's a fertile field of research that will be catching up soon, hopefully. But yeah, we see that within the brain, there's a lot happening. There's a loosening of the fault mode network that is brilliant for us to take different, to do different things and change things. And then, of course, thinking about neurochemically afterwards, there's an amazing shift. So and it's not only related to psychedelics. That's an important thing that we need to emphasize, that other methods and other things can also help out. Psychedelics just do it, let's go faster, if we then are able to like do the integration properly, because we open a window of change that can be shut faster if we have the wrong, again, the wrong behaviors after the psychedelic experience.
Awesome. That was great in a nutshell. And it speaks to preparation and integration in what we were talking about before with the nervous system. That might be doing more yoga or breath work, meditation, but also with diet, like what food are we putting into our
Oh, yeah.
bodies? That's a big thing. Maybe we're taking probiotics as well. What supplements are we taking?
Because the thing is, so what we eat feeds our gut, right? So if we eating the wrong, let's quote unquote, things, will feed the wrong communities in our gut, and therefore it has an impact, a big impact in our brain and how we work. So that's what we need, and that's the main reason of the diet. The cleaner our diet is, the
Mm.
better. And of course, the cleaner is not like one size fits all, because now we have enough research to understand what is good for certain people is not good for other people. So it's just, and again, if we know, our body knows. So if we, again, it's the same thing. You will feel sluggish if you eat certain things that are not great for you. And if you connect, now tying back to the beginning, if you eat something and you feel not great afterwards, that might be your body telling you, no. Because brain fog and all these things, it's just like a consequence of a physiologic change.
Mm. So, Rosa, are you saying I need to eat less ice cream and chocolate?
Well, why are you
Okay.
eating ice cream and chocolate? I know that a
Ah.
lot of times, for example, if not, this is not for you, but for women, when we crave, for example, one of the examples, when we crave during our period, when we crave the chocolate, we are not craving the chocolate. It's our body asking for the magnesium. So if
Mm.
we take magnesium, so this is where the body wisdom, like the body will crave the right things. But of course, with all the science that is going on in food industry and everything, and the bliss point and all these things, you will crave more ice cream. If you're eating ice cream, you're like, because those things are playing with our brain too.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah. What do I really need? Rosa, this has been amazing. So much fun. I hope everyone has enjoyed listening and watching as well. So, we've got beautiful bodies that are wise. They're with us from birth and they're carrying things that help us heal and also things that we need to let go of as well. So, tune in, feel it, explore it, trust it, So Rosa Brissos, PhD. Thanks for joining us. My name's David
Thank you.
Drapkin. You can find out more at mirari.academy. Rosa, yeah, tell people where they can find out more about you.
So you can find me on Instagram. You can find me also on my website, rosafbrissos.com. My Instagram handle is rosafbrissos PhD. So just find me there, say hello, and let's tune in and have fun.
Beautiful. God bless, Rosa. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.